Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Bad Brad, and I want to talk to you today about a new young guitar phenomenon that's graced the covers of Forbes and USA Today and Premier Rig and local news and more hype than you can possibly imagine. Her name is Grace Bowers, and she is the new 17-year-old phenom that the industry is really, really pushing right now. And when I mean industry, she is a marketer's wet dream. You know, she's young, she's tall, she's thin, she's blonde, um, very beautiful girl, very talented, a good guitar player, great. She's on her way to greatness. And, there has been so much hype. It's really quite astounding because Nashville is a town filled with talented guitar players. Everywhere you look, go down Broadway, and there's some amazing players that play down there every day, paying their dues, playing, four sets a night, sometimes two, three shifts a day. And Grace Bowers comes up the new, you know, the way that people come up today is she started posting online. And, like I said, she's very marketable. She has a look that is great. She's got this amazing curly, mop top hair. And, perfect for online presentation. And she started posting videos around the time of the pandemic and getting lots and lots of views. And, she is a really good player. But, I can't help but think about all the other players that are out there. But from a marketing standpoint, and Gibson has obviously latched on to Grace, and is providing instruments for her. And I've noticed her at some events down at the Gibson garage. And you really can't, open up YouTube or guitar, social media without seeing the hype behind Grace Bowers. Now, there have been other child phenoms that have kind of risen up, and some are, kind of in a place where they're at right now, and some are kind of just hovering. It's one thing when you've got the youth, with you and time on your side, but as time goes on, you've really got to develop as a player and as a songwriter and as a performer and maybe even as a vocalist to get to that upper echelon. And the one thing about getting that fast come up is you have to question whether the person has fully developed their talent. And obviously we all develop our talent as guitar players and performers and musicians every time we get on stage. And that's so important. But, I can't help but think, has she really found her voice yet? Is she really at the peak of her abilities? And the answer is no, she's not there yet. Now, she is also getting produced by John Osbourne from the Osbourne brothers. And obviously he's using his studio knowledge and his production abilities to help produce her first single. Grace Bowers and the Hodgepodge, or something like that is what they're going by. And it is a bit of a hodgepodge. Her first release, I gave it a listen. Uh, it sounds like a hodgepodge. It's kind of like, let's throw some players together. Let's throw some vocalists in there, and let's put out a single. And I can't help but thinking, well, does she not have a voice? Has she not developed her singing voice yet? Or maybe she can't sing. I don't know. She certainly sings through the instrument, but the song is really just a vehicle for her to solo. And when I say solo, she's trading off solos with a member of her band. But you can hear in the track that her solos are mixed very prominently with a very, good, thick tone. And the other guitar player's tone is mixed down with a very thin, I don't know if they put some kind of EQ effect on it, or if that's the tone he had and then they just mixed it in lower in the mix. But it seems a very confusing choice as your first single to be trading off with an unknown player, essentially, a sideman. And, I can't help but think, she's getting all this hype now, and she's beginning a tour. They're going to be touring this summer. I believe she'll be opening from some dates with the brothers Osbourne, and certainly there is a place for her, and she's a very good guitar player. But I can't help but think, what if instead of pushing someone out into the spotlight so quickly, what if they were given a couple of years to develop? Even back in the day with labels, they would sign development deals, and they would develop an artist, and they develop them over their career. You'd get 2 or 3 album deals, and your first album would be one thing, and you'd build and you develop as an artist to where maybe your third album was the one that broke you, or your second album. So I can't help but think, is it all too soon? Has she not developed her songwriting? And obviously, as an income stream, songwriting is huge. And what if Jimi Hendrix had been pushed out onto the giant stage at 17 before he started writing songs, before he had the influence of Bob Dylan, before he realized that he had a voice? Hendrix was very Hendrix was very shy about his voice. And by vocal standards, you could argue that Hendrix wasn't a great vocalist, but I loved his vocal style. And Hendrix hearing Bob Dylan gave him the confidence, hey, well, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And obviously, when you're trying to reach an audience, and being able to sing is a huge thing. There are going to be people that are going to love Grace Bowers, guitar playing, but I can't help but wondering what is her vocal ability? Is she able to sing? Because if she developed that, I feel like that would take her a little bit further than just being someone that solos in a band with a bunch of players and a bunch of singers that are, I don't know if they're actually a band, or if Grace Bowers is the star and they're getting paid sideman money. I don't know, but I can't help but thinking, what if she was allowed to develop? What if she was allowed to play more? Now, she's done a lot in her short amount of time. She's being pushed out on the big stage with big stars. She played the New Year's Eve thing here with, all the name acts, and she's, performed with Dolly Parton, and, it's gonna be an endless stream of Grace Bowers. But I can't help thinking about Brandon Taz Niederauer. And, he was a child star, and he's developed his voice, and he seems to be on a career, but he's not getting the push. He doesn't have a big name guitar brand behind him. Taj Farrant is another child star. I believe he's from Australia or New Zealand. He is on his career path, but doesn't have the push that Grace Bowers has right now. Grace Bowers is being pushed to be the second coming. And, it only takes 5 seconds to turn on TikTok or Instagram or anywhere else and see incredible guitar players lighting up the fretboard. And some of them are very marketable and some of them less marketable, but some of them also get, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views. So Grace Bowers has been hoisted to the top of the stage. It's top of the, where you can be as an emerging artist because of her marketability. She is very marketable. She has a great look. She has a look that could be on the runway in New York. And I believe she's even done some modeling work. She's certainly photographed endlessly. And the Grace Bowers, talk is all over the place. And, I think it's really good for guitar. I think it's really good for bringing in young females to playing guitar. And that has come, so far from back in the day. Some of my Larry Brasilio, or I might not be pronouncing her name correct, but now she is amazing, and her writing is incredible. She's one of my top favorite guitar players now, if not my favorite, of the young, players that are out there now. But, in a town full of guitar players, to get pushed to the front of the line the way Grace Bowers has, it's interesting. It's real interesting because, man, there's so many great guitar players in Nashville, and there's a lot of old guitar players that nobody really knows, that have been sidemen for decades. Not me, but other players that I know of that are absolutely incredible and never, ever got the push. Of course, we didn't have social media back in the day. They didn't have that to be able to promote. But every now and then you see these child stars, being pushed up the ranks. But I've never seen the amount of hype behind someone like I've seen Grace Bowers. And she is seemingly everywhere. And I just hope that it's not too fast, that she continues to develop. She continues to develop her own style. Now, her style, the way she plays is essentially, it's like a boomer guitar style. And maybe that's another reason why Gibson has gotten behind it, because Gibson doesn't seem to embrace modern guitar players. They don't seem to embrace, jazz or fusion or any of that anymore. And Grace Bowers is very much an old school, bluesy kind of, riff, based kind of player. And, I have heard elements of jazz and some other things in her playing. So I I feel like she's on the right path, but I can't help but just be blown away by the amount of hype that's being hoisted on this girl, and that's a lot of pressure. She's going on the road this summer. That's going to bring with it its own challenges, and we're going to have to see where that goes. But I feel like this hodgepodge. I think John Osbourne knew exactly what he was doing in putting these players together, because it is a hodgepodge. Grace Bowers could have, maybe done a wider search for singers, or really put together a band and a concept of what she wanted to do. And that's part of development. I feel like she's being thrown into the spotlight. She's being thrown into this band situation, and thrown into this material, and hoisted onto the big stage. But is it all too soon? Could she have developed her sound, her voice, her singing voice, her voice on guitar, her band? Could she have all developed this a little bit better if she'd have given more time? And you know what? Only time will tell. So we'll keep our eyes on Grace Bowers, Taj Farrant, and any other young phenoms that are hoisted upon the scene. And meanwhile, we'll know, all of us out there, that there are millions, it seemingly, of great guitarists out there, and it's all healthy, and it's all a good thing. So I want to thank everybody for watching this video, and please leave your opinion down below on Grace Bowers or any other young guitar players that you're seeing and hearing out there. I'd love to check them out. Please hit like and subscribe, and I am now a new Sweetwater affiliate. So please hit the link in my description, and anything you purchase will help this channel. I appreciate it so much. Have a great day.